We're going to stay here live now at Husky Stadium as we're ready to run the women's 800 meters. And this is one where we're going to get to see someone you haven't had much opportunity to see on television, and she is something special. Anna Quirot of Cuba, who is the favorite in this event. There are some very strong Soviet runners in the event also, but Anna Quirot is the story. You see, Kratochvilova of Czechoslovakia holds the world record at 1:53.28. The American record held by Mary Slaney in the women's 800 meters at 1:56.90. This is a grueling two-lap race, the 800 meters, and the woman to look for, wearing number 26 from Cuba, won the 400 meters last night, Anna Quirot.
She's made it a routine matter for her to win the 400 and 800 at major competition. She did it at the World Cup last year, following in the great tradition of Alberto Wantarena, the man who is her idol. He did that at the 1976 Olympics, and he did it at the World Cup as well. Wantarena, what a great figure in the sport. He's here watching her and encouraging her. It's a tough double to run both of these races in one competition.
Now, we talk about Anna Quirot. Everybody feels she is by far the strong favorite in the field, but there are some other very good runners.
Well, we have the 1980 Olympic champion, Olizarenko, who, of course, twice set the world record in the 800 meters back in 1980.
She wears number 112. The number for Anna Quirot is number 26, and Anna Quirot is out in front right now.
Well, that's the smart way for her to run. It's also the smart way for an American in this race to run. Meredith Rainey, our national champion, a recent graduate of Harvard. She's a fast sprinter like Anna Quirot. If the pace is fast early on, Meredith Rainey has a chance to be a factor later on, although this is her first competition of this sort of status, a world-class 800-meter race.
Lilia Nurutdinova of the Soviet Union, wearing number 111, jumped out in front now. She was second at the Soviet Championships at the time of 1:57.25. Quirot is in second place.
Loboyko, who's the 1990 Soviet champion, is also in the race. Over on the left, we saw briefly Meredith Rainey, who's in very, very good position. All year long, she's been saying she wants to be in a race that goes out quickly, and this one goes out very, very quickly, 56.13. They're on world record pace right now.
It's 2 laps. This is the final lap. Leading in the race right now, the Soviet runner Lilia Nurutdinova.
The key is what happens in this, the third 200 meters. I think that when you have a sprinter 800-meter runner, as we saw in the men's 800, you need to make them run in the third 200.
Anna Quirot, the shorter of the 2 front runners from Cuba, number 26. Now she's making her move, Anna Quirot. She has not lost this since Hector was a pup. And she doesn't look as though she's going to here. Looking very strong, Anna Quirot of Cuba. This is the home stretch.
Over 30 consecutive victories. Yesterday when she won the 400, she waited until about 50 meters to go and put on a fantastic burst. Here she has a slight lead.
Can she hold on?
It's going to be a tough last 30 meters.
Nurutdinova is in second place. It's Quirot, Nurutdinova, Quirot with a win. And it's closer than she thought it would be. Anna Quirot of Cuba has now won 37 consecutive 800 meters. We say it's a grueling race. That tells you the story.
And they ended up running just over 1:57, which is a slow time, really, for a race of this caliber. Anna Quirot was in the lead, near the lead for most of that third 200. No one tried to run away from her, which would have taken away some of her strong finish at that point. Obviously, they couldn't run away from her. She's dominated this event so much over the last 2 or 3 years. She said, hey, I wish Cuba hadn't boycotted the 1988 Olympics. I would have won the gold medal there. Now she's pointing towards 92.
And she gets the chance for the double. Winner of the 400-meter last night, and now the 800-meter here this Monday night.
Nurutdinova, you see the strain on her face as Anna Quirot leans for the tape. She's fast, fearless, and strong in the great tradition of Alberto Wantarena. He was not always the one who stood on his feet after the races too. He was sometimes tired, as she was here, but Anna Quirot, a great champion.
Tatyana Grebenchuk of the Soviet Union finished third, by the way, and she also finished third in the Soviet Championship. So Anna Quirot, as people thought would be the winner here, had a much tougher race than she had expected. A close victory for Anna Quirot of Cuba. 37 consecutive wins in the 800 meters. Just after the 800-meter race, and it was Anna Quirot of Cuba getting the victory, but Lilia Nurutdinova of the Soviet Union gave Anna Quirot just about all she could handle in that grueling race. Quirot wins with a time of 1:57.55. Nurutdinova was in second place, and Grebenchuk of the Soviet Union was in third place. Craig Masbach, I think we saw really the marks, though, of the determination that has made Quirot the finest runner at these distances in the world today.
Well, she says she prefers the 800 meters. She says she can relax and use her speed more in that race. And even though she'll go against the best in the 400, she wants to set the world record in the 800. She wants to follow in the footsteps of Alberto Wantarini.
And the Soviet runners look very strong. Once again, getting out to early lead in the race was Nurutdinova. Here's a replay as we go down toward the stretch now. Nurutdinova second place. Anna Quirot is holding on.
In the 400 meters, she pulled away substantially over the last part of the race. Here she looked a little vulnerable. She had to be tired from that hard effort yesterday in the 400 meters as she swung a little bit wide just at the finish, and then she fell to the ground afterwards. She got off to a slow start this season. She's really just getting into shape. Only Anna Quirot can use this as sort of a training run.
Anna Quirot, last year's 1989 Female Athlete of the Year, according to Track and Field, gets the victory. She has a double win in the 400 and the 800 meter out here at Husky Stadium, Larry.